said, I want to use your exact words, something about gushy love and flowers and uninteresting to you. For girls. I think you said it was for girls. So I thought, I really like you guys, and I want to get something for you that shows you a little bit, tells you a little bit about a special memory.
All right.
How are you?
Mr. Potato Head.
And what are your first thoughts? What are your first thoughts about what I gave you?
I want French fries.
You're hungry?
Yes.
Even though it's a dirty, unclean potato?
Yeah.
It is a little dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's mine.
It is. It is yours. And you're going to figure out really quickly why it is I gave it to you. We're going to be looking at Seamus Heaney today. Seamus Heaney is a famous Irish poet who actually just passed away last month. And he's really known for being a master at taking ordinary and allowing his readers of his poems to feel something that cannot be said about that item otherwise. He's able to take something and evoke an emotion. Whereas now, while you're looking at your potato, which is what we're going to do right now, Rachel, let's just look at the potato, not color it. Okay? You can touch it, look at it. And really what we're going to be talking about is how can you take something like this, how can you take something like a potato and make it special, or use it to tell a story. So I'm going to play for you, and it's actually Seamus Heaney reciting his famous poem, Digging. And I want you to listen. Before we do that, I'm actually going to hand out the poem. What I want you to do is take out a pen or pencil. And while you're listening to him, and I would read it to you, but you will find out really quickly why I'm going to have him do it. So this is the actual poem, and I don't, without going into the detail, we've talked some about alliteration, we've talked about slant rhyme, and we have touched on different meters in poems. For the sake of what we're doing right now, I don't want you to overthink analytically the poem. I want you to use this as an opportunity to underline something that would be interesting to you. A phrase you might like, a question you might have, a word you might not understand, anything that as he's reading that you want to draw attention to so that we can discuss it. Also on the right hand side, if you are thinking something that you want to discuss, or even how just the difference between him reading this poem and perhaps you or I reading it, what sort of impact that has. Seamus Heaney got the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1995.
Clean, rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down till the straining rope among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug. The shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. I thought the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. the cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it.
What's going on here? What is he describing, Rachel?
His dad digging for potatoes.
And what is he doing? What is he doing, Megan?
He says, like his dad or him, the
What is
author,
he, yeah, what is he doing?
that he digs with his pen, which I thought was interesting because earlier he referenced the pen as a gun. I'm
He
wondering,
used a metaphor in the first line. Who remembers what a metaphor is? Do you remember, Mark?
No.
When you use similes, metaphors, when you're using another object to describe something other than what it is. To give it power. Why a gun here? You said that he says that, what did you say he says at the end? That what is he doing?
but he's digging with the pen.
He's digging with a pen. Is he digging with a pen, Sean? Is he in the dirt digging with a pen?
No,
Do you think-
that would be silly.
That
But
would be silly.
I think he's doing his own type of work. That for him the digging is not the literal digging, but a different type of digging. Maybe into his emotions. But that's what he does. He can't do like his parent and grandparent.
Very good. So why does he use digging? Why talk about the digging of the potatoes and what his dad's doing, and then talking about what he's doing with his pen, but using digging? And why loaded gun, do you think, Sean? Why did he choose that metaphor?
I don't know. I thought of the pen as a weapon, not in the sense again of that I'm going to go attack someone with my pen, but that there it is, cocked and ready to go, like he's ready to do. I don't want to say damage, but do something potent with it. Like a gun does something potent, and so he's equating the pen to something just as powerful. And then the combination of the gun to I think he's using the whole conversation here about the pen and digging to link him in some way that my grandparent and parent dug in this very real, literal sense. I dig too, just I have a different tool to do it, just as potent as what they did. That'd be my guess, Ms. D. I don't know.
I really like your analysis. It was very good, Sean. And we're talking about 3 generations of men. Mark, do you think, I'm asking you to try to put yourself in the narrator's shoes. Do you think he feels it all bad that he's not out in the dirt? That he digs with a pen?
I don't know that he feels bad. I think he just recognizes it as different. It seems that he's paying homage to their hard work and their efforts and what they produced. Yet, he's not discounting what his contributions are, because he's using the idea of his pen as a gun and that he'll dig with it and he'll produce just like they did. So I don't think he feels bad.
Makes you wonder if he hopes that they look in the window and feel the same respect. That he is looking out and honoring their work, and it makes me wonder if when they look in the window, and that's just my own little comment. What else did you notice? What else did you think while you were hearing him recite the poem?
Just to go back to your notion there, or your thought, Ms. D. I don't know if I was a farmer, I looked in and I had been cutting up dirt and peat, whatever peat is, and I looked inside and there's my son or grandson just writing poems. I'd have a hard time with that. I'd be like, get your ass out. Excuse me, sorry, I did it again. Get your body out here and start cutting up the bog because we gotta eat. And you and your poems are not gonna make food for us, or something.
I think that's a very valid point. It would be very difficult. It sounds like we're talking about very different people with very different strengths and very different perspectives. What about things you underlined, phrases? Did you find phrases that were interesting to you? Did he do anything in this poem that makes you look at your potato any differently?
I liked the line that says loving their cool hardness in our hands, because when I had mine, that's exactly how I felt about it.
Yeah, that was a good descriptive image. What about you, Mark? Or the process of the...
What I just found interesting, just how it was vague, yet it was clear. And like the coarse boot nestled on the lug. It just, it didn't require a ton of extra explanation, but it was still kind of vague, as to what's going on there.
Would it have the same impact, Sean, if I said, and I went out and I gave him some milk and he kept working, and I went inside and my boots got dirty?
No, there's something about this memory, the way he puts it in this stanza, that makes it more dramatic. Like, this is a memory that he had at some point in time, I think. Like, and that stuck out to him. So, something like the way that, we don't remember people for their perfections, we remember something about their imperfections. Those are the things that, that stick out in our minds. Like, the day that, Dad didn't zip his fly, or that Mom's, a piece of toilet paper stuck to her. And so I'm imagining Grandpa here, just having this milk dripping over his chin and it looking pretty gross, and boy keeps in his mind, but that's the image that he remembers, and it's not just I ran outside. It's that Grandpa couldn't drink the milk. It's here in the poem.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. The language really takes something ordinary and makes it beautiful, makes us feel it. I want you to set aside this poem. I'm going to hand out. We're going over another poem called Blackberry Picking. We're looking at two of his poems today. And I encourage you to do a little work on your own. Look up some of his other poems. I challenge you to come to class and find one that really speaks to you as we're going through this poetry unit. Before I play, I'm going to play this. I'm going to let him read this too. I'm going to pass around. Who here has blackberry bushes?
You're all
Well,
welcome.
for those of you that don't, you can look at an example of what's left on the vine at my house. So I'm going to pass that around. I'm going to play for you, as you pass that around, Blackberry Picking.
Ouch.
Be careful.
Ouch.
Look, don't touch. Unless, of course, you filled out the poetry waiver form.
Late August, given heavy rain and sun for a full week, the blackberries would ripen. At first, just one, a glossy purple clot, among others red, green, hard as a nut. You ate that first one, and its flesh was sweet like thickened wine. Summer's blood was in it, leaving stains upon the tongue and lust for picking. Then red ones inked up, and that hunger sent us out with milk cans, pea tins, jam pots, where briars scratched and wet grass bleached our boots. Round hayfields, cornfields and potato drills, we trekked and picked until the cans were full, until the tinkling bottom had been covered with green ones, and on top, big dark blobs burned like a plate of eyes. Our hands were peppered with thorn pricks, our palms sticky as bluebeards. We hoarded the fresh berries in the byre, but when the bath was filled, we found a fur, a rat-grey fungus, glutting on our cash. The juice was stinking too. Once off the bush, the fruit fermented. The sweet flesh would turn sour. I always felt like crying. It wasn't fair that all the lovely canfuls smelt of rot. Each year, I hoped they'd keep. Knew they would not.
Thoughts on blackberry picking? Who liked this one? Who liked this poem? If you didn't like it, what didn't you like? Rachel, what about you? Have you ever picked blackberries?
Yes.
How, do more go in your mouth than in the pot?
No, because I don't like blackberries.
You don't like blackberries.
No.
You're a
But I'm sure you
communist?
can-
Come on. You don't like blackberry.
Yes, yes, I am a communist.
I'm sure